Beneath the blinding Egyptian sun, the desert sands of Luxor hold many secrets. Some whisper of pharaohs, others of riches, but a few speak of things far darker. In 1923, when the world was still reeling from the legends of Tutankhamun's tomb and the stories of archaeologists falling to mysterious curses, a British expedition set out in search of their own legend, a forbidden place the locals named the Sunless Tomb. Their journey, at first, was driven by the noble spirit of adventure and scientific inquiry. But with each sun-bleached mile they crossed into the uncharted dunes, ambition blurred the lines between discovery and doom. The team consisted of 5. Dr. Edward Wilkes, a man of reason and driven curiosity, whose career had been built on unraveling the mysteries of the past. Thomas Granger, his diligent young assistant. Edith Blake, a linguist famed for her translations of ancient and oft-lost Egyptian dialects. Charles Dean, a master with his camera, ever eager to capture the wonders, and sometimes the horrors, that came before him. And Saleh, an Egyptian guide wise in the desert's ways, who had learned to listen to the desert's warnings when others saw only dust and wind. Saleh had grown up with the cautionary tales murmured after dusk, warnings passed down by his forebears. Even as the team discussed their plans around a campfire, embers flickering into the starlit vastness, Saleh's voice was low and grave. "Some things," he warned, "are meant to remain buried. Even the sun has abandoned this place." Yet as dawn broke over packets of survey maps and polished equipment, his words faded, overpowered by dreams of fame and the drive to leave a mark on history every bit as permanent as the hieroglyphs they sought. The journey to the Sunless Tomb was not on any official map. Local shepherds would not guide them, and even seasoned camel drivers made the sign against evil when the tomb was mentioned. Still, the British party trekked on, deeper into isolation. As Saleh led them to a low mound, almost swallowed by sand, a chill filled the air despite the relentless heat. An omen, perhaps, but one brushed aside by men and women who'd set their hearts on glory. With picks, shovels, and determination, they broke through the caked crust of sand and stone and uncovered a stone lintel, carved with the likeness of Ra, the falcon-headed god, his sun disk absent, his gaze harrowed and empty. And empty. It was not the triumphant emblem of the sun they were used to seeing in temple carvings. This was an image of loss, of abandonment. Yet Edward proclaimed the find extraordinary, and with fits of excitement and trepidation, the team descended into the earth, leaving the safety of daylight behind. No sooner had they entered the tomb than it seemed their luck began to unravel. The self-assured clicks from Charles's camera stuttered, his equipment malfunctioning without cause. Lanterns, when lit, burned low and guttered, snuffing out as if the dark wished to claim them. Even Edith, ever composed, shivered as an icy draft traced the passageways, incongruent with the furnace that waited above. Deep within the labyrinth of angled halls and low-ceilinged rooms, shadows twisted even at the edge of the lantern glow, moving in slow, hesitant ways. At last, they reached a chamber whose walls bore neither gods nor kings, but instead a single wall blanketed in hieroglyphs. Glyphs so old, even Edith struggled to interpret their meaning. Her voice shook as she labored over the inscription, dust motes swirling through their breathless anticipation. "Whoever disturbs the sleeper shall lose the light forever," she read, the words seeming to linger just too long in the chilled air. Then a sharp gasp. Charles wheeled about, eyes wide. He insisted, no, swore, that someone had whispered old words in his ear, in a tongue as ancient as the walls themselves. The others, startled, turned frantically, but found no one but themselves. In the unmoving gaze of their lamps, shadows seemed to pulse. Still, with little choice and too much pride, they decided to camp within the tomb, hoping rest would restore their courage and clarity. Yet sleep would not come easy in the crypt's embrace. As the hours crept past, Thomas noted a strange rhythm echoing through the walls. Footsteps, shuffling and deliberate. When he counted the sound against each person, he realized an ominous truth. There were more footsteps than there were people. When Thomas snapped his light into the corridor, it caught nothing but motes in the empty air. And yet, in the sand tracked across the stone floor, there were not 5 but 6 footprints pressed deeply side by side. A chill greater than any desert night frost crept through their spines. Saleh, driven by dread, no longer diminished by foreign logic, pleaded with them to leave. But Edward, with a feverish conviction born of impossible proximity to something historically monumental, rebuffed him. "We're too close to something great," he said, voice tight with determination. His ambition was now tinged with mania. As darkness descended sharper and deeper, a new terror seized them. Charles, once so eager to document every detail, vanished. In the dim light, the last frames captured on his camera told a tale of compulsion. Charles, half mad and dazed, following a whisper that seemed to seep from the very walls themselves, drawn towards the hieroglyphs like a moth to flame. But after he disappeared into the maze of the tomb, nothing but silence remained. Not a trace, not a footprint. The desert holds its secrets well. Rattled but undeterred, the remaining four pressed on, driven by denial or desperation, perhaps the stubbornness of those who do not wish to believe. Below the grand hall, deep in the earth, they found a curiously concealed entrance to a second chamber, a place more unsettling than any before. The air was tangibly colder, filled with the scent of dust and ancient lingering despair. Shattered sarcophagi scattered the room, their lids cracked and toppled, their contents emptied, as though the dead had risen and left. On the dust-laden walls, horrific carvings depicted faceless figures gathered in spectral judgment, encircling a man burning under the relentless, merciless gaze of the sun. With her hands trembling, Edith deciphered another warning. Her words came slowly, as that of someone reading the inscription to their own soul. "He who betrays the sun shall be drowned in eternal shadow." The warning felt less like history and more like a prediction. In that instant, all light died. Darkness descended, consuming all. The silence was broken by a groaning sound, less human than elemental, as though the tomb itself awakened. And then, from just behind their ears, an unearthly voice intoned, "Ra has abandoned you." Its tone was sorrowful, but also cruelly triumphant. With terror overwhelming caution, Saleh fled. As he ran, something unseen reached for him, seized him, and pulled him back into the earth. His strangled scream cut the silence, echoing off stone until it was silenced, swallowed by the unyielding darkness. The remaining three would never find him. Now madness gripped the survivors. Edith lost her reason, scrawling erratic glyphs upon her notebook, sometimes her own hands, a frenzy of warnings that blurred into meaninglessness. Her voice, once so precise, now a litany of dread. "He's coming! He's coming!" Thomas, horrified, tried to revive her, but recoiled in shock. Her eyes were glassy, unseeing. "I can't see anymore. The sun has left me," she whimpered, her voice breaking as she sobbed into the